What have we been doing today?
What have we been doing today?
Live.
Hello! I'm live. I'm here. Let's go. We have about 35 minutes of time to get through as many questions as possible. As always, we're here to inform you, to entertain you, to help you figure out your next racket, or your next string setup, or your next shoe choice. Who knows what it could be. We've got one very eager beaver in the comments, Doodle, waiting for us to come. We're here, Doodle. What do you want to know? Any questions, let us know. I've selected an array of rackets behind me. I have the Percept 100D, a little closet favourite of mine. The Gravity, just because you lot love the Gravity, I can take it or leave it. The Blade 98 Classic, and the Ultra 99 Pro. And the reason for those two is because we have been comparing them recently. We released a short last week that people have been interested in, and we have a longer form video coming as well. So it's a little sneak peek as to our feelings on the Ultra 99 Pro versus the Blade 98 1619. The Ultra 99 Pro, of course, being not really an Ultra, being that sort of undercover Ultra. Really a Blade, the H19 mould, the Steam racket of before, a proper Pro stock frame with a more cosmetic update to be one for the masses. One of the few Pro stock frames that you can actually get as an everyday tennis player. How many people we got watching? Let us know where you are watching from, and of course any questions. Who's going to give me the first question of the day? I guarantee to answer the first question of the day, but that doesn't mean to ask me something difficult. Let's keep it straightforward and ideally somewhat tennis based. Hello, Mr. Sean. Hi there. Where are you from, Mr. TT Soul? Let me know. And ask me a question. What racket do you use? In fact, let me know where you're from, what racket you're using, and other things. Oh, so I can't see all the things being asked.
There we go.
Here we go. Wrong setting. We're in. Have you guys tried Restring Vivo and Sync blended up? No. Vivo is currently a little bit of a rebrand actually from Restring. I got something yesterday. A lot of the ideas of Vivo and Sync, they're relatively similar in what they do, but Vivo, much more of a neutral string, doesn't really give you anything other than sort of peak performance, longevity of string tension, and really just like maximizing what you put into the ball. Think like Slinko Confidential, that style of string, but very good as a blend. I did it with Zero for a bit. I've now got Sync back in, but I put Sync as my mains and Zero as the crosses. So I'm trying some different combos within Restring. I believe there is a new Restring string coming, only on the off chance that at Wimbledon we happen to notice a Restring sponsored player using a pink string. So who knows what that could be, but that's pretty cool. But back to your original question, but yeah, Vivo and Sync blended up. Interesting combo. I'm not quite sure what you get from it, but give it a go. Let me know. Pure Drive and E-Zone better for flat hitting. Good question. Both very good rackets. I would say, personally, I would go Pure Drive. The E-Zone, I feel, was a little wild for me. I would probably maybe look at an E-Zone 98. We might be the best out of a Pure Drive, a E-Zone 100 and E-Zone 98 for flatter hitters. Just that slightly smaller head. You don't need to generate the spin if that's how you're playing. So that would probably make sense, I think. But is this a choice? Have you got both? Are you thinking of getting both? Have you got one and you want to upgrade? Where does that come from? And also, let me know where you're from. Let us know where you're watching from, what racket you use, what string setup you like, any questions you have, any combinations you think we should try, any questions on the rackets behind me. Otherwise, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we have coming up planned soon. This is the time of year where all the new releases for next year start to get leaked to us, or told to us as we start to plan what rackets we're going to stock here in store. We start to play test them and understand which ones we think are going to be really good next year. So we've just got Wilson to go, so we know pretty much everything that's coming for the first half of next year and a pretty good guess of what's got to come afterwards. Hello from Hong Kong. A Hong Konger. VCore 100. VCore 100, one of the most stable and all-round rackets available. We use it for all our string testing. We've got a set of 5 of them. So when we're testing different Toraline strings or comparing strings from other brands, we use those rackets because we know they're very neutral. They're great for an all-round game. Of course, the VCore one that I suspect may be being upgraded. It's been in for 3 years now. So January probably is going to be a good time. Good afternoon, Jess. You're back. I appreciate your comment on my short. I was reading that earlier when we did the Ultra Pro and the Blade 98. So thanks for that. Yeah, it's a new format we are trying. But yeah, so new releases coming soon. So we've got Wilson to meet. And then we'll have our normal video sort of November time where we sort of secretly half leak what's coming without telling everyone because we're not allowed to say everything. So watch out for that. That was a pretty cool one, but we got a pretty jam-packed January, February, March. There are releases coming kind of constantly. So there's going to be loads of new products to test, loads of upgrades, loads of paint jobs, and we'll sort of try and filter through it all and find out what the winners are. Obviously this year, the big winner being the E-Zone, sort of just completely annihilated the competition in terms of new releases. How is the new Speed Legend MP? I think the new Speed Legend is superb. The previous Speed Legend, I didn't really know that much about. I hadn't used it a lot. When we did the Speed MP Legend versus the new one, the 2025 one, I enjoyed both very much. But the 2025, the new high bore in it, which I don't know if I can say, you'll probably find in more of the head range, I suspect, because it's really good. The stability that you get whilst being that sort of really fast maneuverable speed frame is a really nice combo. You can really relax and let the racket go, and you don't get some of those sort of wildness you can get from a speed sometimes. So yeah, I was really into the Speed Legend. Pair of Alu Power, yeah, it'd be great for a bit, wouldn't it? I find those sort of Alu Power RPM blasts amazing for 3 hours, 4 hours, and then just quite quickly falls off a cliff. So it depends how often you want to restring your racket. Hello from Maryland, US of A. Hello, Pro Stuff 97. So I don't know if you're watching, obviously Wilson's the one brand we're yet to see to find out full details of what's coming. We're obviously expecting a Blade, probably a Shift because they've been in for a while. But Pro Staff is an interesting one. Pro Staff RF, are they going to keep both next year? Is one going to change? Are they going to blend? Is there going to be a whole new, I think there might be a whole new family from Wilson. I think they're ready for something different. But the Pro Staff, I think the Desert Bronze has been in so long now that it looks really dated and sort of people are down on it a bit. But it's a brilliant racket, for sure. And anything with biphase, X1 biphase in it is going to feel amazing. So I'm into it. Good choice. This is a great question, Astigos. From a specs perspective, what makes a spin racket a spin racket? I've been focusing on control rackets. What's the difference with spin? Very good question. Now, spin is a funny one because it varies in how you like to generate your spin to an extent. So we actually did this I was testing with Ben, and we were comparing, I can't remember what we were comparing. In fact, it was these. It was the Ultra 99 Pro and the Blade. And we established that you felt like you could generate more spin with one of them because it was more maneuverable, because there was more weight in the handle, so it was whippier. You could get it moving faster, you could really accelerate it, and that meant you get more racket speed, and that meant you could get more spin. However, the other one being the Ultra, has a bigger head size, has a more open string pattern, has bigger gaps between the strings, all the classical things to generate spin. So if you could get it moving to the same speed, then you'd get more, but you had this combination around weight and balance point and swing weight. So that's something to look for. But generally with spin rackets, you're looking for a 16-19 string pattern. So you've got bigger gaps between the strings, more string movement, and therefore more spin. Generally going to be in 100 square inch heads. I'm actually quite into the spin grommets. You'll see this in the Aero, you'll see this in the Extreme, where the main strings in the center, instead of being round the grommets, they're actually more sort of oval or rectangular to just give that string the ability to move more and slide more, and that's going to generate you some spin. But it's a great question because we have this debate often, for those of you that have seen our reviews, between control and spin, because spin is a way of controlling the ball. You have power. To control your power, you can add spin, which is controlling it. So control is more, I think, the control of the string bed and how the racket responds to what you put in and sort of downplaying it a little bit. Yeah, any hints on new pro stuff? That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I'd love to know. If I knew, I would probably not say, but I actually don't know. I'm going to find out on Tuesday. But I think there's got to be a new pro stuff. Do we think they could get rid of the pro stuff? I mean, Adidas got rid of the barricade for 2 years and then brought it back. Could the pro stuff go and come back? Unlikely. But it'd be, I don't know if we can go to black either because of the RF. Maybe the RF will go. Maybe that experiment has come and gone and they won't release an RF 02 or 03. Who knows? So yeah, I can't help you, but I think a black pro stuff would go down really well. There is no prestige, at least, so Head have got a brand, oh no, I can't say that, but there's no prestige coming next year, as far as I'm aware. Jess, hello, the first gen Extreme Tour. Is the first gen, is that the grey one? The grey and white? The grey on the throat and the yellow at the top? Because that was so good. So I'm into that. I love everything about my backhand drive. Something that has a bit more plow through than an Extreme Tour. It's a good question, Jess. I don't know, let me think on that one. More plow through than Extreme Tour. There's going to be several options. Let's try and think what I would recommend. Let's move on. Farood, E-Zone Tour 100. As you know, we're the only people that have got one. For those of you that have seen our video, these are 100 Tour, a brilliant racket. But you can quite easily turn the normal E-Zone into a Tour. Leather grip, a little bit of weight, and you're pretty much there. It's not that different. I feel they didn't bring it in because they couldn't. Those of you that have been trying to get E-Zones, either from us or from other retailers around the world, because this is a global problem, the supply has just nowhere near been able to match the kind of over-the-top demand. I don't think anyone would have predicted how popular the E-Zone was going to be and how many are going to sell. So there isn't enough anyway. So the fact that there was a whole nother model that every retailer in the country would have ordered another 100 of, suddenly they'd have had to get another couple of thousand rackets made out and they just wouldn't have been able to do that. So I think that might have something to do with it. But we'll see whether in the future they start bringing more. Is the E-Zone 100 overrated? Those of you that have seen my feelings on it, I think it is a little bit. I do. I think the Pure Drive is better. I think the Ultra is better in a different way, but it absolutely hits a certain style and level of play because it's so easy to generate power and so comfortable. So you actually can't knock it, but as an actual player's racket, 98 for sure, but the 100 I think is it's too much for me. Yeah, so there you go. That is my feeling. On the control topic, yeah, I'm liking this control topic. I consider control as depth control, spin, direction of compare. Yeah, it's not a bad way of thinking about it. There's that kind of age-old thing of like control versus precision. If you think like Pro Staff from Wilson as a precision racket, can you hit spots on the court? Does the ball just go exactly where you want? Is the string bed stable? Is the launch angle what you expect? And then you have a control racket, such as a Blade, where it's not quite, it isn't that level of precision, but you're getting a little bit, but it's not adding to it. It's not adding to what you put into the ball in terms of your swing. Speed MP Legend versus the RF01. Interesting question. I don't know. I haven't tested either that extensively, to be honest with you. We did the MP Legend last week, the new versus the old, and it kind of opened my eyes a little bit. The RF01, we are testing the Pro. In fact, this is pretty cool. Next week, we are doing Federer's rackets through the ages. So the 3 rackets he used on tour, and then the RF01 Pro, which he was going to use if he continued his career. And yeah, we've strung them exactly as he did. We've got Champion's Choice, we've got Natural Gut, we've got Ali Power Rough, we've got Power Pads, we've got String Savers, we've got the Tension Spot On. We've been delving through the archives and delving through our limited racket collection to find them. And we have managed to find them all. Obviously, it's not all the different paint jobs he had, but the core frames are there. So me, Ben and Joe are going to be filming on Monday, play testing them all, trying to understand how he moved between them, trying to work out what our favourites were and would be. And we're going to have a series of videos on that. So we're not quite sure how we're going to record that yet. We might try and do some live. We might try and do some of it actually live, because we haven't done that whilst on court testing the Federer rackets, but also a bit more relaxed and more sort of interviewee as we come on and off the court, rather than play testing come back here. But I don't know. Joe's in charge when it comes to curating the videos, so we'll see what he comes up with. Anyway, I digress. Babolat and Yonex will both be releasing Aeros and V-Cores in January. Will they? How could you possibly know that? Do you think the newest version Yonex is shrinking the gap between the two? I can confirm that you're incorrect. They aren't both released in January. So you almost have accurate information, but not quite. I know that, I have used the new Aero 98, and so I can understand a bit of Babolat's hype. They are very confident the new Aero is going to be, and I quote, from an unnamed source at Babolat, the E-Zone of next year. And will the V-Core close the gap? Obviously, the V-Core is a brand new mold as well. I don't know if I was supposed to say that. The E-Zone was so good. Surely the V-Core will be similar in its level up, you would like to think. So it's going to be a very interesting combo between Aeros and V-Cores. We're actually planning stuff for January, February next year, filming days and versus between rackets. We were like, well, yeah, Aero 98 versus V-Core 98s, and hundreds versus hundreds. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how they respond. And yes, whether Yonex close that gap. Will the V-Core be more of a spin racket? Currently we see it more as a bit of an all-rounder with a hint towards spin, where obviously Aero is probably spin with a hint towards power. So yeah, Jess, the Extreme you've got, the grey one, yeah, it's a really good racket that. I guess you're going to struggle to get any more of them. But I think that's probably one of the best Extremes there's been. In fact, I think the year that came out, it was our #1 racket of the year. So that's pretty cool. Wilson Ultra 99 Pro versus Pure Strike, what would you recommend? Good question, Doodle. You finally got a question, Doodle. You were waiting for us, and now you pipe up with a very good question. Depends how good you are. The 99 Pro is a pro stock frame. It's the old Steam 99, it's the H19 mold. It's what the pros are actually using underneath their Wilson paint jobs, or a lot of them are. And so if you have a fast swing that you can control, the stability you get on really fast swings from the 99 Pro is incredible. When me and Ben tasted it last week, we were absolutely gunning it, and it was almost like you couldn't hit the ball out. Like, the level of control you got at high speeds was very, very good. The Pure Strike, still in that sort of vein, but the feel is more buttery. And depending on which Pure Strike you get, if obviously you went with a Pure Strike 97, then it's probably most similar to the Ultra 99, a bit more manoeuvrable, but nowhere near as stable. The normal Pure Strike, the 98s, probably more akin to something like a Blade than that Ultra 99 Pro. It really sort of sticks out separately. Mteka, God, Mteka, we haven't seen you for ages. You've been busy in your workshop cutting things open. 2026, we're not in 2026, so I don't know how I could possibly say. 98 square inch racket of the year, the 2026 head speed or the 26 Aero 98. Why do you think the head speed's going to be 98? Interesting, MTecher. Interesting. Personally, for me, I would probably say that, forgetting your 98 question is on those two silos, I think the Aero, although the speed's going to have high bore in it, which is really nice in the Legend. I think it's going to be a great year for rackets. I'm interested to see who doesn't quite meet the standard. Wilson have got to. They've got to release some new stuff. Like the blade's always great. Like surely the blade will be amazing. The speed's going to have high bore in it, like the Legend, and that's just going to take a step up and be as good. One of the most popular rackets, and I think it's the third most popular racket in the country. I think it's our fourth bestseller or something this year. V-Core, Yonex just go strength to strength. Aero, iconic. It's a real big start of the year. So for those of you who are racket fanatics, you better get some credit card limit increases, because there's going to be some rackets to buy and some rackets to test. Thank you. Let me know where you're watching from. We've got about 15 minutes to go. We've had some very good questions today. So yeah, ask any questions you like about racket specs, racket strings, combinations, new releases that I can or cannot tell you about, but I end up saying anyway. And let's keep going. Yeah, I feel the E-Zen is overrated. You're agreeing with me, of course. You just bought the Speed MP Legend 2025. I hope that's a good choice. It is a good choice. I promise you'll like it. Similar, as I was just saying with the Ultra Pro, like the longer your swing, the nicer you're going to find it. I assume you're not in the UK, because otherwise, of course, you'd have bought it from me. Of course, that would be nice. We've got, what poly string would you recommend for the Speed MP Legend? Because everyone's really into the Speed MP Legend. We tested it with Zero, the 2025 versus 2024, and we don't know how it would respond with a kind of more mellow string. Obviously Zero is pretty lively. I would say the speed, it would depend where you're trying to push it. Are you trying to make it more power and spin, more control? That's where the speed's quite a good racket for allowing the string to kind of alter it a little bit, and you can make it play in numerous different ways. So Pavel, let me know what you want from the speed. You want it just to play neutrally as the racket, then go like Slinko Confidential, Restring Vivo. You want it to give you a little bit of extra bite. We can talk about something else. But anyway, MTecher sanding now, not cutting, or just taking each layer off one at a time to see which the angles the graphite is layered. Very good, I'm into it. The Speed 2026 in a 98. MTecher, you're wrong. There isn't one. There isn't a Speed 98, I'm afraid. If only there was, but there isn't. Maybe there's a 97. I was looking for a great string for my daughter's blade. You mentioned Video Sync was great in it. Got it in, it went well. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome. It's always nice when our suggestions come out well. I think the blade is great. A power spin. Yeah. So yeah, you obviously reaching. You got something like Zero, Toroline, loads of power options. I'm a big fan of Otoro Tor in mint. One of my favourite strings at the moment. So you could chuck that in and see. Yeah, but that's a good option, Pavel. So I would try that. Speaking of Toroline, for those of you in the UK who get their Toroline strings from us, don't worry, we have our restock coming, hopefully, within the next 3 or 4 days, including Dreddy, Dustin Brown's favourite string, or Dustin Brown's string. Dustin Brown, one of our favourite tennis players here at PH. We actually have a portrait of him by the door when you come in. So we've had that for years, so we can't be put us jumping on the bandwagon. We're a big fan of his style of play. CB, is there going to be a new Wilson line of rackets in 2026? I think there's going to be. I honestly don't know. I haven't met Wilson yet. I haven't heard anything. But yeah, I think there could be something big from Wilson. I think they have to. I think there's an element of the lines getting a little not boring, but it's just been the same for a while, and they need obviously the new blade will give them a big push, but something else. I think the Ultra has been, I think releasing the Ultra time of year they did, it suffered, because I think it's a very good racket, so we'll see. I know a few good standard players, good stuff, who string their blades with Hyper-G and love it. I mean, Hyper-G is like Solinco, for those of you who don't know, basically created Hyper-G as a string that they could produce very cost effectively, and then just gave it out to essentially every college player in the US and made it the college string. And it's really worked for them. It's become obviously a mainstream brand off the back of that sort of technique. One Solinco string thing I would be wary on is the gauges, their gauge control. Not always the best. We have measured some where the 128 was actually smaller than the 123. But a great string for the money, absolutely. So yeah, and good in the blade, so can't knock it. Yes, let me know. I don't have enough countries. We've had the USA, and that's about it. I know some of you are from the UK because we've spoken before. We've had Hong Kong as well. Any other countries? And in those countries, like, what is the go-to racket at the moment? Obviously in the UK, it's just E-Zone, E-Zone, E-Zone. Has that been the case worldwide? I feel like it is. Any news on the possible Solinco Whiteout version 2? No, so I was actually having a conversation with Solinco earlier about the Blackout version 2. And that hopefully is coming real soon, in the next week or so. Firstly for us to test, and then assuming it plays well, which I think it will, to stock as well. But yeah, I don't know about the Whiteout 1820. I shall investigate for you. Sean, about Tourline Truffle X. I don't know much about Truffle X. All I know is we've got some coming. We're going to try it and do it. Like you were saying, Wink, how do you suppose a 98 speed would play? A 98 speed I think would be delicious, but I'm afraid there isn't going to be one. Hello Scott from California, you came in late. You can come in late, don't worry, you don't have to be here at the start. People come and go the whole time. You're good. I can't really do it here on the new VCore lineup. Previously it's the VCore 98 Tour with Vivo. Yeah, nice. Vivo and Enzo Pro. Hopefully the new line has a Tour. I have seen the new line. Does it have a 98 Tour? I can't remember. I think it probably does. I think you're going to be okay. I would almost certainly say it will have one, whether every country, every region of the world brings it in. As we were talking earlier with the E-Zone 100 Tour, who knows? But I'm pretty sure there is a 98 Tour. I think. There's definitely the 95 again. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, the VCore stuff, I think we're play testing in November, so we'll start to have some secret ideas that we're not supposed to say around then. And Deco, do you want me to say anything else with the Winks? Other than there is no speed 98, forget it. Gravity is in the 98, that's it. Speeds are hundreds, apart from the new one. Where else in the world? We've now got West Coast, we've had East Coast of the States, we've had Hong Kong, obviously we have the UK, my home market here. Anywhere else in the world? Any questions? And as I was asking earlier, what's called, in the UK, the Pure Drive for years was the big one, and now we're obviously getting E-Zone and Yonex really putting a cat amongst the pigeons. Here we go. Oh, greetings from NYC. My club sees a lot of Wilson. I think, yeah, the US Open influence makes sense. I think generally Wilson in the States is a bigger brand. I will often see videos and walkthroughs of the Wilson stores where they've got multiple sports, not just tennis, but all the other sports they do as well, and create some really beautiful looking stores. So that makes sense. Wilson, probably the most iconic tennis racket brand. I think that's fair to say. And yeah, they make good rackets. They always talk a lot about the R&D that they do. Obviously, the 45 technology. I mean, the Clash is a bit of a marvel. I think the Clash doesn't get anywhere near as much love as it should for so many lower intermediate club standard players. It is the perfect choice of comfort and power. And more should do it. Canada, excellent. I was in Toronto this year. Loved it. Go-to racket is the Babolat Aero. Interesting. So obviously, new Aero coming. Yeah, obviously, Aero sort of rode the Nadal wave for years, right, and made it so super popular. But it's a great racket in its own right, without doubt. Spin and power, and actually the ability to change the string to control it as well when required. So I've got Canada, California. I'm hitting a lot of America. Come on, Far East. Let's be having you, as Delia would say. That's only those Brits would understand that, especially those from Norwich. Any other questions or rackets? How long we got left? We've got about 6 minutes to go, and then I will leave you for another week. For those of you that weren't here, we talked a lot about what we've got coming up in terms of our filming schedule. So we've got the Roger Federer rackets through the ages, all the rackets that he used on tour at different times. We are taking those for a spin, and we are also going to start to play test all the new releases for next year. So we'll have a video coming soon that has all the different things. All the different releases that are coming, and then we'll start to unpack what we're super excited for. Mteka, you're asking a better question. How would a 97 speed play? A Pro Style 97, something else? Why would they make a speed 97? That seems ludicrous. Who knows? Will it be more of a tour frame, like a Pro Stock frame, like the Ultra Pro, or will it be just a smaller head size on a more traditional speed? Or will it be, I don't know, more like a Gravity Tour? I don't know. But a very good question, Mteka. Well done. From the Philippines, hello. I asked for Far East Asia and I got it. Tennis is growing massively here because of Alex Ayler, and the rackets I think we use are Wilson because they're affordable recreational rackets. Yeah, Wilson do really well at that base level. If you hit up, not that you ever should go on Amazon to buy tennis products, but if you do, you'll find that Wilson is massive. They really fit that well. Of course, if you want that more intermediate racket, so a step up, I think it's where Babolat absolutely create brilliant rackets, the Boost range and the Evo range that sit just underneath the Pure range and above their Evoke range at the bottom end. Really, really great value options, especially the Evos. Hello, junior amateur age 13. I need a perfect. My stroke style is spin and flat. How can your stroke be spin and flat? That means you're an all-court player. You're doing everything. You're like Federer, but younger. And you're going to want a racket, therefore, that either has a smaller head size and an open string pattern, or a bigger head size, bigger 100 and a tighter string pattern. All-rounder, you've got to think something like Radical is going to be a good shout for you. Blade. V-Core 100 or 98 also pretty cool, but at 13 be wary, especially on string. If you're going to go poly, go with a thinner gauge, depending on if you're a frequent string breaker or not. I would stick with multis for as long as you can. Hello, will there be a 1620 V-Core 98 for 2026? I can't remember. People keep asking me about the V-Core range, the one that we're not supposed to know about, because Yonex are very clear that the racket doesn't exist until it exists. So I don't know. Next week I'm going to make sure I swat up on my range knowledge for next year, so I can help you. But yeah, I don't think there is. I don't think. There is a new V-Core in the range from this year, but I can't remember what was different about it. I know I'm not being very helpful. Cool, we've got 2 minutes left. Any final questions? Let me know. Here we go. Will you create a new update video comparing the latest Pure Drive 98? Yeah, that's a really nice idea actually. So that's obviously within the same brands, within Babolat. we obviously did that a long time ago, the Strike 97 versus the Aero 98, Pure Drive 98. We now obviously have a new Pure Drive 98. I think we'll probably wait for the Aero. We actually have that in, so we could do that. We wouldn't be able to release it until next year, but that's a good idea, because it was when we did that we realised how good the Strike 97 was. Again, a racket slept on by a lot, the Strike in general, but the 97. For a 97, it doesn't play like it. It's so manoeuvrable. Yeah, it feels really great. So, yeah, good idea. Appreciate that. We shall add it to the list. The very busy list coming up. Cool. We got about 190 seconds to go, and we're on a little. I think we're on like a 20-second delay. So by the time you hear this, it'll be about 1 minute to go. Any other suggestions on any content you'd like to see? Any questions to help and string? Any other locations? I've had Philippines, Hong Kong, US multiple times. What else have we got? My favourite was when we had a friend from a tennis store in Israel joined us. That was great. Yeah, any other questions? Here we go. We're ticking down very quickly. I'm here on my own today. Sean, you can maybe hear in the background is with customers in the shop, which is just to that side of me. So I'm going to have to figure out how I end the stream on my own. But we're getting to that point to say goodbye. Any final questions can come in. Malaysia, excellent. We have been chatting. What other string racket would you suggest? I already have the Speed Legend MP. The new one, I'm assuming. String tension, you're going to want to just drop it down slightly in that Speed MP, I would think. Something around like 49 would probably be pretty sweet. M-Tekka from Turkey, yes, M-Tekka, we know. Although we used to think you were from somewhere else. Have you moved around? Can't remember. Turkey, watch out for the sales of sandpaper going over the roof now. He's sanding down his rackets. Watch out. Maybe he's trying to just change that balance point, sand a bit off the top. You know, that's how M-Tekka rolls. All right, I think that is it. If we have one more question pop up, I shall answer. What always happens is towards the end of these streams, there's no questions, and then as soon as we stop, about 10 questions come in. So you've got to squeeze it in quick because we are on to the last few seconds. Thank you very much. As always, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, and we shall see you all very soon. I've been Josh.